A live concert to me is exciting because of all the electricity is generated.
Music has shaped our world in ways we can barely comprehend. From revolutionary performances to groundbreaking innovations, these moments didn't just change music, they changed history. Are you ready to uncover them all? Picture yourself standing at the threshold of musical history, where each beat, note, and rhythm has carved its path into the fabric of human culture. We're about to embark on an extraordinary journey through time, exploring the 25 most earth-shattering moments that transformed the music landscape forever. These aren't just dates on a calendar, they're the heartbeats of musical evolution that still pulse through our speakers today. From smoky jazz clubs to massive stadium shows, from vinyl records to digital streaming, each moment we'll uncover has left an indelible mark on how we create, share, and experience music. Some of these moments happened in the blink of an eye, while others sparked revolutions that burned for decades. They've united generations, broken down barriers, and given voice to the voiceless. As we count down these legendary milestones, you'll discover how a single performance could change the course of history, or how one technological breakthrough could reshape an entire industry. Get ready to challenge what you think you know about music's most influential moments. Let's kick off our countdown with a moment that shocked the world and set the stage for everything that followed. 1. Can you guess which iconic event starts our countdown? The year was 1955 when a seismic shift rocked the music world. Elvis Presley's electrifying recording of That's All Right at Sun Studio marked the birth of rock and roll as we know it. Like a match striking dry timber, this moment ignited a cultural revolution that would burn bright for decades to come. Sam Phillips, the visionary producer, captured the raw energy of a young truck driver whose unique blend of country, blues, and rockabilly would transform him into the king of rock and roll. The single didn't just climb charts, it shattered barriers between black and white musical traditions. That sultry Memphis afternoon changed everything. Elvis's distinctive sound, combining his Tennessee twang with African-American rhythm and blues, created a new musical language that spoke to teenagers across America. This bold fusion challenged social norms and sparked a youth movement that would define a generation. As we move to our next moment, we'll discover how another groundbreaking release sent shockwaves through the industry. But first, can you guess which legendary album turned the music world upside down in our 24th spot? 2. Which groundbreaking release shook the music world? In 1964, a sonic revolution thundered across the Atlantic as the Beatles unleashed I Want to Hold Your Hand on American shores. Like a musical tsunami, this release didn't just top charts, it rewrote them. The single sold a staggering 1.5 million copies in its first 3 days, a feat that left record executives slack-jawed and competitors scrambling to catch up. The song's infectious melody, paired with the band's magnetic charisma, sparked what historians would later dub the British invasion. Teenagers wept in the streets, radio stations played nothing else, and America's musical landscape transformed overnight. The track's groundbreaking production techniques, featuring innovative use of compression and overdubbing, set new industry standards that producers still reference today. This wasn't just a hit song, it was the match that lit the cultural powder keg of the 1960s. The Beatles didn't just cross the pond, they built a bridge that would forever connect two musical worlds. As we dive into our next moment, we'll discover how another artist's bold move would challenge the very foundations of musical expression. 3. What surprising collaboration changed music forever? In 1977, an unlikely partnership between Queen and David Bowie birthed Under Pressure, a masterpiece that would reshape musical boundaries forever. Like two celestial bodies colliding in a cosmic dance, these titans of rock merged their distinct styles into pure sonic alchemy. The song emerged from an impromptu late-night studio session where Mercury's operatic prowess intertwined with Bowie's avant-garde sensibilities. The iconic bass line, conceived during a pizza break, would later become one of music's most recognizable hooks. But beyond its infectious rhythm, this collaboration broke down the rigid walls between genres and artistic territories. It proved that magic happens when creative giants step outside their comfort zones. The track's raw emotional power and social commentary resonated across generations, inspiring countless artists to push their own boundaries. Like a musical Big Bang, this partnership sparked a revolution in cross-genre collaborations that continues to echo through time. As we turn to our next moment, prepare to discover how one artist's defiance of industry norms would shake the foundations of music itself. 4. Who defied the odds to make history? In 1984, Prince Rogers Nelson shattered every boundary imaginable with Purple Rain. Like a phoenix rising from Minneapolis's underground scene, the diminutive genius defied racial stereotypes, gender norms, and musical conventions. The album wasn't just a collection of songs, it was a revolution wrapped in purple velvet. Picture this: a 5'2" African-American artist in high heels and ruffled shirts, masterfully blending rock, funk, and R&B, while Hollywood simultaneously immortalized his story. The album's success was unprecedented, spending 24 weeks at #1 and selling over 25 million copies worldwide. Prince's fearless exploration of sexuality and spirituality in tracks like When Doves Cry left the industry speechless. But here's the kicker: Prince played every instrument on several tracks, proving his virtuosity went far beyond his flamboyant stage presence. His defiance of record label control and artistic boundaries paved the way for future independent artists. This wasn't just about making music, it was about making history. As we move forward in our countdown, get ready to witness another jaw-dropping performance that left audiences worldwide in absolute awe. 5. Which performance left audiences speechless? The year was 1967 when Jimi Hendrix set his guitar ablaze at the Monterey Pop Festival, creating a moment that would burn itself into music history forever. Like a phoenix rising from the flames, Hendrix transformed a simple Fender Stratocaster into a blazing symbol of rock rebellion. The audience stood transfixed as he coaxed otherworldly sounds from his instrument before dousing it with lighter fluid and igniting it in a dramatic sacrifice to the gods of rock. This wasn't just showmanship, it was the birth of a new era in performance art. The flames that licked the California night sky became a metaphor for the burning boundaries of conventional music. Even Paul McCartney, who had recommended Hendrix for the festival, watched in awe as his fellow artist pushed the envelope of what a live show could be. The performance sparked a revolution in stage presence, inspiring generations of musicians to view their instruments as extensions of their artistic expression. As we move forward in our countdown, we'll discover how another technological breakthrough would soon reshape the musical landscape in ways no one could have predicted. 6. How did technology revolutionize music overnight? In 1981, a seismic shift rocked the music industry when MTV launched with the prophetic words, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll." Like a bolt of lightning illuminating a dark sky, this revolutionary channel transformed how people experienced music forever. The debut of "Video Killed the Radio Star" by the Buggles wasn't just clever irony, it was a glimpse into music's visual future. Artists suddenly needed more than just stellar vocals. They needed compelling visual stories. Madonna, Michael Jackson, and Duran Duran became household names not just for their songs, but for their groundbreaking music videos. This new medium turned musicians into global superstars overnight, with videos like Jackson's Thriller redefining entertainment itself. The impact rippled through generations, forever changing how artists connected with fans. As we'll see in our next moment, this technological revolution opened doors for unexpected musical trends that would dominate airwaves worldwide. 7. What unexpected trend dominated the airwaves? The rise of disco in the mid-1970s transformed the musical landscape like a glitter bomb exploding across America's dance floors. The Bee Gees, once a folk rock group, metamorphosed into disco kings with their groundbreaking Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. This cultural phenomenon wasn't just about music. It sparked a revolution in fashion, dance, and social norms. Studio 54 became the epicenter of this movement, where celebrities rubbed shoulders with everyday folks under the hypnotic spell of 4 on the floor beats. The disco era challenged racial and sexual boundaries, creating safe spaces for marginalized communities to express themselves freely. Artists like Donna Summer pushed the envelope with provocative hits like Love to Love You Baby, which scandalized conservatives but liberated audiences. However, the disco inferno burned too bright. The Disco Demolition Night at Chicago's Comiskey Park in 1979 marked a dramatic turning point, showing how this beloved genre also faced fierce opposition, yet disco's influence echoes through modern dance music, proving that cultural movements never truly die, they evolve. Speaking of evolution, our next moment reveals how music united nations in an unprecedented display of global harmony. 8. Can you name the event that united nations through song? In 1985, music created a miracle that transcended borders and political divides. We Are the World brought together 45 of the biggest stars, from Michael Jackson to Bruce Springsteen, in a groundbreaking collaboration that would change humanitarian aid forever. Like a musical United Nations, these diverse voices merged into one powerful chorus for African famine relief. The song, written by Jackson and Lionel Richie, wasn't just a chart topper, it became a global anthem of hope. Recorded in a single night, the supergroup dubbed USA for Africa created magic between those studio walls. The track raised over $63 million for humanitarian aid, proving that music could be a force for real change. This moment showed the world how melody could bridge divides and unite humanity under a common cause. As stars checked their egos at the door, they demonstrated music's unique power to inspire action and compassion. Speaking of inspiring moments, wait until you hear about the breakthrough artist who's coming up next. Their debut changed everything. 9. Which legendary artist's debut altered the music landscape? The year was 1956 when a young truck driver from Memphis stepped into Sun Studio and shook the world to its core. Elvis Presley's debut single, Heartbreak Hotel, didn't just top the charts, it ignited a cultural revolution that would forever change the face of music. Like a bolt of lightning striking the musical landscape, the king fused country twang with rhythm and blues to create something entirely new and electrifying. The impact was seismic. Teenagers across America found themselves possessed by Elvis's magnetic presence and provocative hip movements. Parents were scandalized while radio stations couldn't spin his records fast enough. His appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show drew an unprecedented 60 million viewers as families gathered around their television sets in a moment that would define an era. This wasn't just a new star rising, it was the birth of rock and roll as we know it. Elvis's breakthrough marked the moment when music became more than entertainment. It became a powerful force for social change. Speaking of social transformation, wait until you hear about our next moment that sparked a cultural revolution nobody saw coming. 10. What controversial moment sparked a cultural shift? The year was 1956 when Elvis Presley's hips ignited a firestorm on The Ed Sullivan Show. His provocative performance of Hound Dog sent shockwaves through American living rooms. Parents gasped in horror while teenagers screamed in delight as the king's gyrating movements challenged society's rigid moral codes. Television censors scrambled to film Elvis only from the waist up during his third appearance. Like a match striking dry kindling, this censorship sparked a nationwide debate about artistic expression. The controversy transformed Elvis from a rising star into a cultural revolutionary who embodied the growing generation gap. This watershed moment marked the birth of rock and roll's rebellious spirit. Elvis's performance became a battle cry for youth culture, challenging traditional values and paving the way for future artists to push boundaries. The ripples of this cultural earthquake would influence everything from fashion to social norms. As we dive into our next moment, get ready to discover how a legendary festival would forever change the landscape of live music and define an entire generation. 11. How did this historic festival redefine live music? In the summer of 1969, a dairy farm in Bethel, New York, transformed into the epicenter of a cultural revolution. Woodstock wasn't just a music festival, it was a seismic shift in how live music would be experienced forever. Through torrential rain and mud, nearly 500,000 souls converged to witness legends like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin create magic on stage. The festival's 3 days of peace and music became a testament to the power of unity through melody. Despite overwhelming crowds and challenging conditions, Woodstock maintained an atmosphere of remarkable harmony. Max Yasgur's 600-acre farm became sacred ground where artists delivered career-defining performances that still echo through time. The festival birthed the modern music festival blueprint, inspiring countless events from Coachella to Glastonbury. Woodstock's spirit lives on in every massive gathering where music breaks down barriers and builds bridges between hearts. Its legacy reminds us that sometimes the most powerful moments in music history happen when thousands of voices join as one. But while Woodstock revolutionized live performances, another movement was brewing that would give voice to those fighting for change. Let's discover how music became a weapon for social justice. 12. What movement gave voice to the voiceless? The rise of hip-hop in the late 1970s South Bronx wasn't just a musical revolution, it became the heartbeat of a generation crying out for change. Like a phoenix rising from urban decay, this powerful movement gave marginalized communities a platform to share their raw, unfiltered stories. DJ Kool Herc's legendary block parties transformed basement rec rooms into cultural battlegrounds where turntables became weapons of mass expression and rhymes served as shields against societal indifference. The movement exploded beyond music, birthing a complete cultural renaissance encompassing breakdancing, graffiti art, and fashion. Africa Bambaata's Universal Zulu Nation turned gang members into peacekeepers, while Grandmaster Flash's The Message painted vivid pictures of inner-city struggles that could no longer be ignored. This wasn't just about creating music, it was about creating change, giving voice to millions whose stories had been silenced by poverty and prejudice. As we venture into our next moment, prepare to witness how one groundbreaking album would shatter every rule in the music industry's playbook. 13. Which transformational album changed the rules of the game? In 1967, the Beatles unleashed Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band like a sonic thunderbolt that would forever alter music's DNA. This wasn't just an album, it was a revolution bound in vinyl, shattering the boundaries between art and pop culture. The Fab Four transformed their studio into an acoustic laboratory, weaving together orchestral arrangements with revolutionary recording techniques that pushed the limits of what seemed possible. Like master painters working on their magnum opus, they layered sounds that had never been married before. Indian sitars danced with Western strings, circus organs mingled with rock guitars, and avant-garde tape loops created otherworldly soundscapes. The album's iconic cover art became as legendary as its contents, featuring a star-studded crowd of cultural icons that symbolized the breaking of traditional barriers. This masterpiece didn't just top charts, it rewrote the rulebook for what an album could be. It elevated pop music from mere entertainment to high art, inspiring countless artists to view their albums as complete artistic statements rather than just collections of singles. As we venture into our next moment, get ready to discover how an unexpected musical genre emerged from the streets to conquer the world's airwaves. 14. What surprising genre emerged and captivated the masses? The year was 1979 when a revolutionary sound emerged from the Bronx that would shake the foundations of music forever. Hip-hop burst onto the scene like a thunderclap with the release of Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. This groundbreaking track transformed street corner rhythms into a global phenomenon. DJ Kool Herc's legendary block parties had already planted the seeds by isolating drum breaks and extending them through 2 turntables. But it was this pivotal moment that launched hip-hop into mainstream consciousness. The track's infectious groove and playful lyrics captured imaginations across America. Like a cultural wildfire, hip-hop spread from neighborhood to neighborhood. It gave voice to untold stories and created a new artistic language through 4 essential elements: emceeing, DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. The genre broke every rule in the music industry playbook and proved that innovation could come from anywhere. As we look ahead to our next influential moment, get ready to meet the artist who dared to challenge society's expectations and transformed the music landscape forever. 15. Who broke barriers in the face of adversity? In 1957, a seismic shift rocked the music world when Sister Rosetta Tharpe dared to cross the rigid racial divide. Known as the godmother of rock and roll, this fearless pioneer wielded her electric guitar like a weapon of change. Despite facing brutal segregation and gender discrimination, Tharpe's electrifying performances fused gospel with rhythm and blues, creating a revolutionary sound that would inspire legends like Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry. Picture this, a black woman in a conservative era, standing tall on stage with her Gibson SG, fingers dancing across the frets while traditionalists clutched their pearls. Her defiant spirit blazed a trail through America's segregated venues, proving that music could transcend society's cruel barriers. The raw power of her voice, coupled with her innovative guitar technique, didn't just challenge expectations, it shattered them. As we march forward to our next moment, get ready to discover how a simple technological breakthrough would forever transform the way musicians create their art. The story of innovation continues to unfold. 16. Which instrumental innovation transformed music creation? In a dimly lit garage in California, 1964, Bob Moog unveiled a creation that would send shockwaves through the musical universe, the Moog synthesizer. Like a mad scientist's dream come to life, this revolutionary instrument merged technology and artistry in ways never before imagined. The synthesizer didn't just add new sounds, it birthed entirely new genres and redefined what music could be. Artists like Wendy Carlos and Keith Emerson became sonic pioneers, wielding this electronic marvel to craft otherworldly soundscapes that captivated audiences worldwide. The Moog's distinctive voice echoed through Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and transformed Stevie Wonder's Music of My Mind into a groundbreaking masterpiece. But this was more than just an instrument. It was a portal to the future of music. Its influence rippled through decades, laying the foundation for electronic music, hip-hop, and modern pop production. As we dive into our next revolutionary moment, get ready to discover how global cultures collided to create something extraordinary. 17. What defining moment brought global cultures together? In 1985, Live Aid emerged as a watershed moment that forever changed how music could unite humanity. Bob Geldof's vision transformed into a spectacular 16-hour concert spanning 2 continents. Queen's electrifying performance at Wembley Stadium became the day's crown jewel, with Freddie Mercury commanding 72,000 live spectators and 1.9 billion television viewers worldwide. The event raised an unprecedented $127 million for Ethiopian famine relief, but its impact transcended mere numbers. Phil Collins made history by performing in both London and Philadelphia on the same day, taking a Concorde flight between shows. U2's career-defining set proved that music could be both politically powerful and commercially successful. Like a massive wave rippling across oceans, Live Aid's influence continues to inspire benefit concerts and humanitarian efforts through music. The event showed that melodies could bridge divides and heal wounds across borders, setting the stage for future global musical collaborations. As we move forward in our countdown, get ready to discover which legendary artist's debut would shake the foundations of music itself. 18. The pioneers who blazed new trails. In the scorching summer of 1986, Run DMC and Aerosmith shattered the walls between rock and hip-hop with their groundbreaking collaboration Walk This Way. Like a lightning bolt striking the music industry, this unprecedented fusion created shockwaves that still resonate today. The track didn't just bridge genres, it demolished barriers that had kept musical communities apart for decades. Steven Tyler's signature scream, intertwined with Run DMC's razor-sharp rhymes, created a cultural earthquake that forced MTV to recognize hip-hop's undeniable power. The video itself became a metaphor for breaking down walls, literally smashing through the barrier separating the two bands during filming. This revolutionary partnership paved the way for countless genre-bending collaborations that followed. From Jay-Z sampling Annie to Lil Nas X's country rap phenomenon, every cross-genre experiment owes a debt to these fearless pioneers who dared to challenge the status quo. As we venture into our next moment, prepare to discover how a single set of lyrics ignited a social revolution that would echo through generations. 19. Which unforgettable lyrics sparked a movement? The year was 1964 when Bob Dylan unleashed "The Times They Are A-Changin'" onto a world teetering on the edge of social revolution. Like a prophet wielding words instead of stone tablets, Dylan captured the heartbeat of an entire generation yearning for change. The song's razor-sharp lyrics sliced through the facade of 1960s America, becoming the unofficial anthem of the civil rights movement and anti-war protests. Each verse hit like a hammer on society's conscience, challenging senators, parents, and critics alike. The song's power lay not just in its message, but in its timing, arriving just months before the Civil Rights Act passed. Its impact rippled through history, inspiring countless artists from Bruce Springsteen to Public Enemy to use their platforms for social change. Dylan's masterpiece transformed music from mere entertainment into a weapon for justice, proving that a simple folk song could shake the foundations of society. The question wasn't just whether times were changing, it was who would lead that change. As we move forward to our next moment, get ready to discover how one groundbreaking act shattered cultural barriers and reshaped music forever. 20. The day music rights changed forever. In 1999, the music industry faced its biggest disruption since vinyl records. Napster emerged like a digital tsunami. This peer-to-peer file-sharing platform sent shockwaves through the established order, forcing record labels to confront an uncomfortable truth: adapt or die. Metallica's infamous lawsuit against Napster became the David and Goliath battle that would reshape music distribution forever. The aftermath transformed how we consume music. Record labels, once the gatekeepers of the industry, watched their iron grip loosen as artists began exploring independent distribution channels. This seismic shift laid the groundwork for today's streaming revolution, where platforms like Spotify and Apple Music reign supreme. But the real story isn't just about technology, it's about power. The balance shifted from industry executives to consumers and creators, democratizing music in ways previously unimaginable. Like a dam breaking, this moment released a flood of change that continues to shape how we experience music today. As we move toward our next influential moment, get ready to discover how one artist's triumph against all odds inspired an entire generation to dream bigger. From groundbreaking performances to technological revolutions, these 25 moments shaped music as we know it. Which moment surprised you most? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating musical journeys.